On that note, we're going to kick this off. Good morning, everybody. I'm Taurus, your host. We've got Zulfi here and Fifth Shadow from Fifth Kingdom. They're going to be running through what Fifth Kingdom is with us today, what they're planning, how the NFTs are going to affect their ecosystem, and probably one of the biggest questions that you guys have, how you can participate and potentially earn from this project. Welcome in, guys. If you guys want to do a quick introduction, let us know a little bit more about yourselves and maybe some of the experiences that you have within Web3 or gaming or digital asset industries in general. Feel free to kick it off.
Well, Fish Shadow, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'll kick things off and then I'll pass it over to Zulfiqar. I've known Zulfiqar for quite a bit. We've been involved in a number of Web3 based projects. My background, and actually both of our backgrounds, is in information technology. I was a systems analyst for a government and also had my own business in the IT industry as well. I actually have a business background in Web 2, believe it or not, mostly primarily in e-commerce coming from sort of that technological background. I was always looking to see how to serve people, right? And when I approached Web3, I sort of saw this space that was up and coming with the technology side of it, with distributed ledger technology and blockchain and all that has to offer. And then I came in with that sort of bright-eyed, bushy-tail, Web 2 business background of, transparency and delivering value and having integrity. And then I realized, oh, that's not really here in Web 3, or if it is, it's uncommon. So, getting involved in Web 3, I've been rugged. I've done well in some things, and I've seen the space sort of take a lot of turns. Some of it for the good, some of it not so much for the good. I was kind of here when DeFi was just sort of kicking off in the NFT hype. So I've seen a lot of, I'll say sort of tulip bubbles come and go in the space. And I just, having worked with, Zulfiqar in business and in tech and a bit in Web3 in general, we came to this sort of conclusion that there's a lot of in this space you see, and I'm seeing it frequently all the time. And I know, all you have to do is do some quick news article searches and you'll see it as well about, hey, new project, but I went and actually took your money and gave it to somebody else and bought a boat. And there's actually no value whatsoever. And a lot of the ideas, air quote, are really just cash grabs. And so having that business background of coming to the table first, and we'll get into this as we discuss Fifth Kingdom and how we've been self-funded and have brought value before we took anybody's money, is rare in the space. And I hope to see that sort of change. And that's sort of the transparency and integrity approach that I think the space is missing. So I've seen this great technology with not so great business behind it, but having a business background, tech background, there's still so much potential. And having worked with Zulfiqar as well as a number of other people, that's what we're hoping to deliver here with Fifth Kingdom. So with that, I'll sort of pass the mic to Zulfiqar, and he can share his thoughts and his insight.
Awesome.
How am I supposed to follow that? How am I supposed to follow? I should have went first.
There's very few ways, but I know you'll find one.
Well, hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zulfiqar. I am the creative lead for the Fifth Kingdom. Like Shadow mentioned, my background is in IT network architecture. I'm a former United States Marine. When I left the Marine Corps in 2014, I worked for the U.S. federal government. And then from there, I went into consulting and sales. So I went over to the dark side. I had a friend in 2021 launch a crypto project. And when I looked at it, I was not even in crypto. I didn't understand the market. I thought it was like most North American consumers. I was like, well, isn't that magic internet money? I mean, why are people, isn't that the thing where that person bought the pizza and then he regretted it because it was worth like $1 billion? So when I looked at it, the first thing I saw it was the technology, the blockchain technology. What is a distributed public blockchain? What is a distributed public ledger, right? DLT. So distributed ledger technology really caught my attention because I was in traditional telecommunications sales. So when we're trying to pitch clients, we would always talk about security. Everyone was talking about security. At the time, it was really big. We had a few big banks getting, kind of robbed SQL injections. If you're in the industry, we don't like to talk about it because it was very embarrassing. But we're always selling people on the CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Well, the blockchain is constantly available, and immutability is built into it. The veracity of the data that's being exchanged is the ultimate receipt system. So when I looked at it as a total, I was just like, why aren't people talking about this? And for the record, Cisco Systems is now using DLT for stuff, and you're welcome. So that was sort of like my little claim to fame in the security apparatus. But anywho, so I started working with him on the project, and slowly but surely, I started noticing that there was a difference between having great ideas and bringing real technology to a nascent space, and allowing people who maybe don't have the same morals or vision that you do take your ideas, misappropriate them, and then rug people or steal or go for a money grab. So, like Shadow mentioned, we have worked on at least 4 projects together at a high level as either consultants or employees. And each time the same thing would happen. We would create a system. The ideas would have to be, trying to think of a polite word to use. We would have to make concessions in the design because people wanted to find ways to money gouge people or to extract more and more and more value. Shadow and I look at things as like traditional business. We offer a service or a product. The user pays for it. They experience it. They use it. They have a service level agreement. If they don't like it, they stop buying it.
Okay.
We don't feel like once you buy a digital asset, we have to keep extracting value from you. You are not the product. The product is the product. The service is the product. So this is one of the reasons why we call this the fifth kingdom. This is the fifth kingdom that we built, but this is the first time that he and I are the editors. We are the two people at the editing table. We get to dictate what the outcomes are going to be for the products and services that we provide. So that's sort of the genesis behind the name, a little bit of our background, and of course, the most important thing. And I always say, I typically don't get too theological or talk about religion too much, but I do think that there is something to be said about having a team of God-conscious people behind a product. And of course, anybody can quote a Bible verse, anybody can quote the Quran, but what you'll notice is in our actions and our words, our deeds match. And that'll just happen over time as the community sees us executing on promises and where we involve the community. So all the stuff, if everyone wanted to know anything about Zulfiqar, who I am, how I operate, any Muslim, that's all you got to know. When we're not being watched on a public blockchain, I'm being watched by somebody else. So that sort of dictates our morality as project founders. And that's all I want to talk about myself. I'm more excited about the product.
Yeah, having God conscious founders can be helpful considering, like you're always holding yourself accountable to more than just your audience. And so, yeah, no, that's an interesting point. Um, well, thank you guys for both introducing yourselves. We'll take the chance now to introduce the Fifth Kingdom. In, I know we've got a lot that we can go over, but like the basic element of Fifth Kingdom, what is it? Like, what is it to you guys? What is the vision for it?
The fifth kingdom is a digital asset in a world that is going to have a tangible, real world monetary value associated with every image that you see on your screen. So the fifth kingdom is a Web3 company. We are not just an NFT project, but we are a Web3 company where our inaugural product is an NFT, right? Your NFT, your Lord NFT, when you purchase from us, is your identity in the system. It is a SLA that you have between other products and services that we offer. And so we're a Web3 company that is building a digital world, and your NFTs are going to be the dictator of how you participate in all the systems that we come up with. And so what we've done is we've combined DeFi, TradFi, and play to earn gaming, and then wrapped it in an immersive story that people can engage with. So you're not just engaging in a DeFi system, you're not just engaging in a play to earn game, you're also engaging in an actual world, which eventually will become more touchable as we grow our services, add more games, add more areas that you can get involved in. We start releasing more of our cinematics. Once we start getting into our short form weekly and bi-weekly storytelling, where you can just watch a 10-minute video and sort of getting exposed to the world via our entertainment prongs. Like you mentioned, we could go into it a lot, but it's really two projects in one. It's a play to earn game and a DeFi project, and the two are symbiotic, and that's how we decoupled our token from a play to earn game. So you're not just relying on a liquidity pool to get value. You provide the value to the DeFi side of the project, and the DeFi side of the project gives its value to the players. And we'll go over that as we sort of unwrap this onion.
Okay. So you mentioned that the players are basically fueling the entire economy within the game. That you don't have to rely on a liquidity pool or external investors to inflate the price or potentially deflate the price based on whatever their sentiment is and whether or not there's adequate liquidity and interest in a secondary speculative market, correct?
100%. And I think that's something that's going to take people a little bit of time to get used to. There is no trick being played in the background. There is no borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. There is no taking a percentage of player A's deposit and giving it to player B. All tokens that are issued are fresh minted utility tokens to the players, and all buybacks are done by externally generated value. That's another reason why I say every item that gets created in our system has a real world value associated with it. So there's an actual onboarding of value. So we're not just shuffling tokens around, we are adding external value onto the blockchain.
Okay. Now, when it comes to how those funds are used to generate profit or earnings or revenue or whatever, how does that work with the NFTs and the players putting those deposits in?
Certainly. So when you deposit into a mine, and like you mentioned, the players that play the actual game, those dictate the mine spawning. The mine is our deposit mechanism. When the Lord household owner deposits into a mine, you're depositing USDT. We take that and we transfer it over to our money management company. So we have an existing money management company. That's why we have funded everything ourselves for this project. We have a portion of the company that has spun off and is now completely Web3 focused. We are licensed by the CMA out of the state of Kuwait. We have full license for handling international clients. We generate that in the secondary markets through different means, foreign exchange pairs, selling precious metals, securitized debt bonds. We do business with certain banking entities with foreign countries. And so we generate all the value from a company that we already have in existence. And then what we do is we go to an exchange, we purchase the USDT, and then we send it to the treasury. And our goal, and the reason why we have a maximum discovery rate, is because we presume if everybody were to hit that max rate, there's an expectation that we would be able to buy back those profits, and that becomes what we call a liability. And so we are confident in our ability to meet that liability, and that will be provable, again, because we use a blockchain, so you can't fake it. All the USDT required for a buyback for the monthly liability for all mine deposits will be placed in a public treasury before those treasures get claimed by the users. What does that mean? If people are expecting to get 100,000 utility tokens from our mines, there will be at least 100,000 USDT in a buyback wallet before you claim your tokens.
Okay.
And that's all generated from onboarded capital. So that's value that's being generated off chain, onboarded on chain. That way that no tokens that ever go to the end user will ever come from another member.
Okay. That's so the only concern that I could see there, and just to point this out, is that some users are used to a fully decentralized system. How do you provide information on that managed market fund or the back end tradfi earnings and investments to the people that would usually look to a blockchain ledger or something to see what money's moving around, what earnings have been made, sort of like the reporting for that to the people who are participating in the Fifth Kingdom.
Yeah, certainly. So with everything, it's a great question. So the obvious answer is twofold. First is you can see on the blockchain. I mentioned it before, it's immutable for a reason. So when you deposit your USDT into the mines, you can only claim a utility token. If you get into a gold mine, you're pulling out a gold token. If you get into a metal mine, like gold or iron, you're pulling out gold and iron. If you get into a gem, you're pulling out rubies and sapphires, right? So it's a utility token. the proof is in the pudding. It's easy to say something. I usually just tell people the moment that you can't get your tokens bought back, that's when you know the jig's up. So uh, how the revenue is generated for us to purchase the USDT is less of a problem for the participant, and it's more of an issue for us because the liability we have to generate. We can release reports, and people can match those. So, for example, if it's X amount of USDT was deposited into mines, we can show that X amount was clearly sent to the money management company, and then you'll see the profit generation. Some of that is private in regards to maybe like brokerage fees and things like that. Those are things that we would not make public, and that's just out of proprietary. That's just out of being a business. But as far as what's being onboarded on chain, all of that is verifiable. 100%. And it's important to understand that that is only if you had nothing else to do with your token. There's a reason why they're utility tokens. So if you withdraw your tokens and you don't want to have them bought back, so you put USDT in and you don't just want USDT out, you can actually use those tokens for other things. You can use them to craft new items, enhance your characters, enhance your households. And that, of course, will dictate the availability of those utility tokens. So we're very confident with our ability to meet those potential liabilities. That's why we chose that. And that's another reason why our discovery rate is fixed and at a max amount.
All right.
What is
Let's
this?
start.
I'll jump in if I could real quick. So, having been in this space for, maybe not as long as some people here, but for a good amount of time to see the good and the bad, we'll say, which doesn't always take too long. But, if you look at, I look at Fifth Kingdom as sort of like taking multiple different systems and plugging the best of those systems together. So on one end, you have DeFi. Now, I could probably talk for half an hour on each one of these issues that exist in the different spaces, but just briefly, DeFi's got its own a series of problems. And in many cases, you have staking platforms that will lend your funds out, and usually there's some kind of loan mechanism, and hopefully they repay their loan. And that's most crypto loans are typically they're sort of like hard money loans on the blockchain, essentially. So there's definitely a risk there, right? You're really relying on a third party to hopefully repay a loan for the margins to be there and blah blah. And that's not the only way, but that is a primary way you typically see a lot of DeFi platforms sort of function. And it can work, but it's heavily reliant on a lot of factors, right? So it can break very easily. It's it's sensitive, I'll say. And then you have the play to earn side, which I know Zulfiqar had touched on, which typically you take a token from Peter, you give it to Paul, and someone on the top usually takes a percentage, and you're kind of hoping there's enough demand to create the increase in value for people over time. And typically, what ends up happening is that there's not enough demand, and there's just too much splitting the pie. So it ends up having the value go down. And that's not always the case, but it has happened many times. And then, of course, you have NFTs that will create. I literally just saw one last night. I won't say the name, but I saw one last night that was they literally were bashing utility because it was a picture and it, hey, we have emotion, we have a community. So then you have that component, right? You have NFTs that are tokens that usually are really just flipping opportunities, which are okay, but the technology is so vast and could do so much more. So I feel like we've taken the best of each of those, where we have the DeFi component that is owned by the player. So if you're a player, you play the game, you own a mine, the mine opens, people deposit into that mine. As a player, you get the fees. As the one depositing into the mine, you get the resources. You can use that in the game. You can open up more mines. You can increase your progression, and or you can sell those, and that progression will follow your NFT. That's where the NFT sandwich in the middle becomes a great system, because a lot of NFTs, if you buy an NFT that has a picture today and you try to sell it tomorrow, it's still just a picture. In our system, you can progress your NFT and sell it, and that progression follows that sale. Somebody coming to get that NFT now has ownership over the mines that you were in. They are getting the resources you were getting. They're getting all the benefits that you created in your strategy. So now your NFT is actually worth something. So now you've got the best of DeFi, the best of play to earn, and you're really utilizing the technology of the NFT right in the middle to kind of sandwich it all together. So I know we were talking a little bit about DeFi, but just I look at these as sort of like systems. If I could take the best of this system and remove the worst of this system and plug this with over here, and let's bring this all together and let's sort of create what the kingdom is, which is essentially these two systems that are interconnecting with really the technology that exists and doing it in a way that is unique and doesn't borrow from Peter to pay Paul.
Okay. Speaking of mines and deposits and everything that we've spoken about so far, so basically, for those who might have had a little bit of an issue keeping up with Zulfi, you guys deposit, they manage the funds. It's off chain for the managed funds for the investments, but the reason why they have the discovery rates between the typical 1% and 5% that they have in their paper is that they feel that they can make sure that within expectations for the returns from those funds, they know that they can get that back for the liability and cover the players' returns or rewards for participating in the ecosystem. So this is why they have it set between the 1% and 5%. Some of the things are off chain, and there will be some reporting they're saying, but not everything will be shared, like brokerage fees, stuff like that. Anything that's proprietary to their system and them doing business in the way that they do business to be successful is something that they would be able to share. But for everything else, it's all going to be on chain as you would typically expect for an NFT project or a DeFi project. Correct?
Correct. And
Okay.
one last little note, because Shadow hit on something that's really important. When people talk about your NFT growing, I'm just going to give you a basic example. If you deposit 10,000 USDT into a mine, that's tied to your NFT. So when you go to sell that NFT, it now has 10,000 USDT of locked value associated with it. So it's a way to make people's staking tradable and liquid. You know,
Okay. Now, but that's only for as long as that mine is in effect, correct?
correct.
Yeah, because then the payouts happen, and which is something that we can start to get into. The
Yeah,
core
certainly, I was
loop
going to say,
of the
and,
ecosystem.
and one, yeah, exactly. And one of those things people will notice is that we don't extract value from the users. All the fees go to other players and users, and we'll sort of get into how everything weaves together. But we really did like, draw a lot of inspiration from other games and gamified systems. And so you're going to see, like, when we say this is player owned, some of you are going to wonder, well, how do you make money? And again, those are the brokerage fees. I mean, we own the company. So, and we'll get into all that. You'll
Okay.
notice we don't insert ourselves into the user experience too often, and that's because we don't need to nickel and dime you. You paid for a premium experience, you're going to get one, and it's going to be reliant upon the players to your left and your right on how much you like it. So
All
don't
right.
grief each other too hard.
All right. So on that, let's do the core loop here. So we've spoken about the NFTs. There's going to be the primary NFTs, the lords, and then the companions. How do those work?
Certainly. So Shadow just made a great video that we're going to be making public. So all the NFTs are lords, potentially, right? Each NFT has two abilities. Your primary ability, which is going to be your discovery rate, which is based on a rarity RNG table. Common is a 1% per month discovery rate, and Mythic is a 5% discovery rate. Now, each NFT also gets a secondary stat. That secondary stat comes into effect if you elect to make that Lord one of your companions. So every NFT has the capability of being the head of a household. It's just one of those things where narratively, you've got your primary Lord, which will be your highest discovery rate, and then you supplement it with up to 5 companions. When you use an NFT in the companion spot, it will secondary ability. Your secondary ability is either going to be an increase in discovery rate between 0.1 and 0.5%, or it'll be a fee reduction between 1% and 5% reduction in fees. And then people can mix and match depending on the NFTs that they pull and reveal. And then you create the best discovery and lower fees household that you can. So that's the general household system for depositing. Shadow, did you want to add anything to that? Because I just want to get into like the game and how it all works together.
No. So I have 3 videos I'm going to be releasing either between today and tomorrow. I have to do some editing on them. Video one's going to go through the hiring an NFT. When we use the term hire, that's That's a colloquial term. It's the same thing as minting or purchasing an NFT. The second video will go through the household. What is a lord? What is a companion? And then some strategy. And that's good. That's where I think you're going to see these puzzle pieces come together, because it's one thing to talk about it. I'm a visual learner. I know there's a lot of visual learners out there. And I think when you see this, it's going to be, now I get it, because you've got some strategy where, hey, I might have a rare NFT, but I might have a better secondary. And so if I put these in different positions and first, second, third, whatever, you're going to start to see this all come together. But essentially, yeah, like Zulfiqar said, every NFT could be a lord or a companion. The only difference is where you place them, and where you place them will activate the primary or the secondary trait.
Yeah, and just
Alrighty.
if you don't mind, I'll talk a little bit about how that genesis happened. So when we first started the project, originally, I mean, to be candid, our original idea was how to sell an NFT that would become a trading account. That was the first idea. That was the base idea behind the genesis of the project. How could we create a gamified system where people roll and their role dictated their service level agreement with the brokerage? Turns out that is 1001% a security, and America don't play with that. I have subpoenas to prove it. So we had to nix that idea. So that's part, and then of course that's sort of the genesis behind adding in the gaming element. We started working with the Solana Foundation and figuring out how we could use certain technology hooks to make sure that these assets were being used and respected in the way that the governing jurisdictions that we operate in, which is the entire world, are comfortable with. So again, it is like multiple projects layered on top of each other, and it might be something people aren't used to seeing. It's very ambitious, but it was almost impossible to solve the problems with each one of these systems by themselves. It was really hard to create a DeFi system that had real world yield without really making something in the real world. I mean, it's John Locke's theory of money and value, right? So it was really difficult to decouple that. And with gaming, like we mentioned, when you have a liquidity pool, if you just understand how the value gets divvied up, when you pay, say you pay $1 million into a token, $1 million doesn't go into that token. First of all, the team's going to take a little off the top because nobody works for free. You know, freedom ain't free, costs $1.05. And then when they go, let's say they use half the value. When that value gets put in to become a liquidity pair, it might say it's $1 million liquidity pair, but there's only 500,000 of the actual value token that's used to create that liquidity pair. So every time someone withdraws from it, only a quarter of the value you thought you were getting when you bought the token goes into the LP. That's the reason why every play to earn game where you try to reward people for effort with a token that has a liquidity pool goes to zero. People put in more effort than people put in money. So we had to decouple those ideas and divorce them. We have the DeFi element, and then we have the play to earn gaming. And when you hear how we weave them together, you'll understand why the project had to be as ambitious as it is. And then inshallah, as we go through and explain things, you'll see why we chose to have certain things on phase 1 and MVP. And then as we unwrap this gift, you'll see as we add more features. And as we get more feature rich, more strategy will come to play. More of the things that you did earlier on will make sense, and you'll be rewarded for it after the fact. And once we get into mines, I'll really break that down because they are clever. They're not just a yield generating token.
And speaking of mines, now that we've covered households, companions, and lords, how do how does the mine or assets that you have? Because I know you guys are planning on more than just mines, but mines is the initial one. So we'll start with mines. How do they work together? How do the lords and companions affect the mines and vice versa? Like what what's there for that for the users?
100%. So great question. From the start, players. We have an actual game. One of the things that was asked by a community member to me a couple months ago was, is this going to be an actual game, or is it just like a spreadsheet with movable images? And I kind of laughed because I was like, no, man, it's a game. Then I thought about it and I was like, oh, you know what? I mean, gamified DeFi is such a thing that I can see why they would think that, right? And
Yep.
so we have an actual game, folks. We have an actual dungeon crawler survival game. So players play the game. You play the delving. You are the people that go in and actually extract the wealth from this world. So you play the game, and through the game, you complete tasks, and those tasks will give you embers. Once enough embers globally have been collected, which means enough quests have been completed, the mines open up. And we have an RNG table with rarity. So some mine types will be more rare than others. Those get activated by the players. So a lord can't even deposit into a mine until one, it's been created, which means enough quests have been completed in the game, and two, it's been claimed by a player. So this is how our players play to earn. You play the game, you complete the quest, you get the embers. Once enough embers have been collected by the entire world, mines open up. You take your personal embers and you go and you claim those mines. So you as the player become the owner of that mine. The lords deposit, they're getting their yields, they love it, they're happy. When they go to withdraw their discovery rate each month, there's a 15% fee. That fee doesn't go to the project and it doesn't come to me. It goes to the delvers and the players that own that mine. So now your skill and time is being rewarded by the DeFi participants. And that's how we decoupled earnings from a liquidity pool to a service level offering.
All right.
In a nutshell. So that's the start for the players, and then I can talk about what the mines do for the household people because it builds. But yeah, if we could just go right there, because that's a lot to digest.
Yeah. So you said that the delvers unlock the mines and the households deposit into the mines. What would that look like for somebody doing that for the first time? Right? Like, so you delve in, you unlock the mine. Now the households or the lords, the high lords are going to then deposit into it. What would that process look like? So how long would it take for delvers to potentially unlock a mine? How much would there be required to deposit or get involved with a mine as a high lord?
Okay, that's a great question. So right now, we have people actually playing the game and gathering Ember at this very moment. So right now, we have alpha players, which, by the way, I think a lot of the audience is actually in the game playing right now. So you're gathering Embers right now. Some people are using to unlock new classes. But eventually, what's it going to look like? As soon as we launch, we will have a couple mines that are opened, just as like a gift from the project. Players can take their embers, own those, and then as soon as they're unlocked and fully claimed, then the high lords can begin to deposit their USDT and have it go to work.
Okay. So
And then,
the
sorry, and then you asked about the value. The initial value of the Ember is a 1-to-1 point, but since it is an SPL token and we have a marketplace, that value can go up or go down, and then it'll take X amount of Embers to fully take over the mine. But the equation to understand is that the idea is that the entire mine has to be claimed by the same dollar value that it exists. So if it's a $5,000 or a 5,000 USDT mine, sorry, it's a 5,000 USDT mine, then 5,000 USDT worth of embers have to be used to claim it by the members.
okay. And then so to claim it the 5,000 USDT worth of embers, which would essentially be 5,000 USDT.
Yes, but it wouldn't be five yet. The value
Yeah.
wise. So, for example, I'm playing the game. I get paid in Ember tokens. I see a 5,000 USDT mine. Let's just pretend that I had 5,000 USDT worth of Ember. I go and claim that. I claim that mine. So now, once it's active, the High Lords can deposit into it. They can play the DeFi game. Whenever they pay their fees, it's all going to me. Now, in real life, we presume there'll be multiple game players that own mines, particularly the larger ones. But that's the idea. That's how a player takes ownership of the deposit mechanisms.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense now. This is informational for me too. Um, so it essentially you claim the mine and then you collect the 15% fees or what you had discussed before, right? For the mine claiming.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then the
100%.
person who deposits the $5,000 in USDT value or whatever it would be into the mine as a high lord, what would they get? Just their discovery rate.
They get their discovery rate every month.
Okay.
Exactly.
And that would go on for how long?
So that will be dictated by the size of the mine. So what we did was we built in a term limit because in our experience in DeFi, anytime somebody says forever, suddenly we all think we're immortal. And it's like that little asterisk of, well, obviously, unless there's like an act of God or, something happens, like I die. If I die, I can't provide the service. Don't sue me like from the grave. Well, he said forever. So what we did was we built in a known term limit. So all of our mines are based on a 2x, 3x, or a 4x limit, which means that if it's a 10,000 USDT mine and it's a 2x, you can withdraw 20,000 USDT from it. So some mines will have more yield over time and others will be smaller. And the reason why we did that is to, one, let the customer know that there is a finite structure to this. And then also, we have an event at the end. Once a mine is mined out, what happens? Because users had deposited an initial USDT value, correct? And again, most projects, we've worked at several of them, they would just sweep those funds and say, okay, well, we've met the terms of our contract. You guys have received more than you put in tokens. Khalas, we're done. We're good to go. Not us. What we do is once that mine is paid out, there's one last gift from the Fifth Kingdom to you, the player and the depositor. We take the initial principal, we withdraw it from the brokerage, we split it in half. Half of the initial deposit goes to the player or players that owned the mine, and the other half goes back to the initial depositor. So even after you've gotten your 2x, 3x, 4x in yield from your initial deposit, you also get 50% of your deposit back at the end of the term.
All right. And all of that ending up being funded by the market and the return that you guys make on that. So that's awesome.
Yes, but it's also, once again, it's literally giving people. So this is a little bit less of us turning it over. That's your money back. We just give it back to you after the
Yeah.
terms are completed. So that's less of
Yeah,
a
the
turnover, and that's
principle
just
that
us
you
saying, hey,
guys use
thanks.
to generate the yield. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's one last big payday for the delver, for the player, and then of course it's half your initial deposit back for a person that just made 200, 300, 400%, in tokens.
Okay. All right. Now, so now we know that the game ties into the mines, which ties into the high lords and the households. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we move on to talking about the game real quick and then move into some questions?
Yeah, just the mines real quick. So again, it's a narrative, and if you look at our roadmap, we have other features that are going to be released. There's a reason why we elected to use mines as the first resource generator. So mines will give you either some type of a metal or a gem, some sort of a precious stone. Those are going to be used in our crafting system to make either jewelry or adornments for your household to either reduce fees, increase yield, or give you extra benefits for different vocations that we come out with later. Eventually, we're going to introduce different games which give you access to different sources of materials. Everything that you draw from your expedition, right now we just have mines, so I'll just talk about mines. I won't get crazy and start talking about all the other stuff. But from your mines, you're going to use those gems to create jewelry. You're going to use those metals to create armor and weapons and things to help you in the game. So you can actually use these tokens to create something that's going to enhance your experience or your ability to generate value in our system. So that's the reason why thematically we have those tokens starting. But then eventually you'll see we start incorporating new things, wood and different ways to build different things. And that's another reason why I want to drive home that we are building a real world here. There's a reason why there's a real world value attached to each one of these tokens, is so that when we use them to create new digital items, those aren't just hopium jars. They aren't just jars of hype. They have an actual fixed asset value to them. Something was foregone in order to build that, so it has a perceived value. That's what we're doing. And every single resource, every raw resource that you would draw from our initial product is going to be used to build everything that we build over the next 5 years. So 5 years from now, inshallah, when you're experiencing like a full-blown metaverse, that entire sandbox was actually built by items from people. Every stone, every piece of wood, everything was actually created by these tokens that we're pulling out now. So this is very industry, very infrastructure level for what we plan for the Fifth Kingdom in the future. You are literally withdrawing the base materials that are going to be used to build this world.
I'll drop something real quick.
Go
Hey,
for
he thought it was hard to follow me. It's hard to follow him. Yeah, just before we get into
it.
the game. Look, the Fifth Kingdom's a different system. I think anybody who's listening, anybody who's been listening understands this is not a typical stake and bake in DeFi. This is not a typical PDE in gaming. This is not a typical NFT cat picture. It's the best of all three, but it's creating sort of a new conglomeration of them. You know, it's a sustainable DeFi that feeds the game, which the game feeds the DeFi. It's not something that can go to zero. It's not something that you have to sit there and I've done this, so this is how I know. Sit there and stress watching a chart all day, wondering if you're losing your value in something because there's no liquidity pool for that to happen. And it's a trackable, progressible system on an NFT. That's what makes it unique. If there's ever any like, okay, this is interesting. I like this because it's different, and I'm a fan of different personally, especially in Web3. I like things that are different. But maybe like you're still unsure. Like I said, I've got a couple of videos coming out between today and tomorrow. If it's something you still are like, hey, I think I got this like 80, 90%, but it's still a couple of points I'm still missing here. I'm a visual learner, and if you're a visual learner, watch out for those videos. They'll be dropping today, tomorrow, and I think it'll answer a lot more if you are somebody that actually has to see it in action, you know, for yourself.
Awesome. So on the game, I've played it a little bit. I had fun with it. I like the Vampire Survivor style games. You mentioned that right now earning embers are live, so you're going to be able to earn embers towards claiming mines later on from what we've gotten here so far. Um, what is the vision for the game in the future? Like what do you guys plan? I know you're planning on different resources based on what you've said that you'll probably be able to get from it, but right now it's just like a straight dungeon mine looking area. What do you guys have planned for the future for that?
It will be a fully realized open world MMO, inshallah.
Ambitious.
So right, correct, right? Yeah, unlike, oh, I don't want to mention him, but unlike the guy that you and I both are aware of, just so everyone knows, we are self-funded, but we do have a board. Shadow and I just represent 50% of it. That's the idea. So right now we put you directly into the action because your actions feed into the overall system. Eventually, we will take a step back. We will allow your character to roam inside the Fifth Kingdom. Your avatar will be able to be in the city, and from the city, you'll access different areas. And eventually, we will grow it out. We will have an actual world that you can go into areas. I want to try to stick. We have so much planned and we have so much that's been started. Just so everyone knows, I am clearly the idea guy. If it were up to me, everything would be 80% done, but we would have every feature that's ever been created in gaming. Shadow kind of keeps us grounded and he dictates what's ready for prime time. So I'm trying to stick to the things that we have ready right now. But eventually, people will be able to look on the map, find an area that's unclaimed, and you build your kingdom there, and it has a real world value because of where it's located in this world, in this ecology that we create. So it is a player ran economy. It will be a world where people, I would like for them to spend time in it, to explore it, to, taking the community from Discord and bringing it into the game. I mean, I've played so many games and I can't tell you how many hours. The answer is too much, maybe. How many hours I've spent in the capital city just LFG or just hanging out with people or crafting or having fun. That's what we're hoping to bring, sort of that second life immersion, that Eve Online player owned economy, that Ashes of Creation dream. That's what we're hoping to bring to the Fifth Kingdom. It's just most people make these promises and they try to go too big too soon. We are already ambitious in regards to how we've weaved together these different Web3 theories, and we're going to test out the philosophy. But inshallah, we will be everything that we wanted to do. I mean, I'm a gamer, but I come from a tech background. I'm building the game I want to play. We are debating whether or not I'm allowed to be a guild leader because of how our guild leaders participate in the system. But I'm going to play this thing. I mean, there's a reason why I'm number one on the leaderboard. I play this game all day. I'm playing a game that I enjoy, and I'm building a world I enjoy. And I want you all to enjoy it as well. So that's sort of the vision from me. Is I want it to be a place that is worthy of your time and that you enjoy playing. I want people to hang out. I want a Baron's chat. I want the silly memes. So
That
that's
Ashes
the
of
goal
Creation reference
from
was
me.
a sore spot, buddy. Um,
Got us all, man. You got us all.
yeah, yeah, this is like Chronicles of Illyria. Um, But
Well,
yeah,
I'll say this. I pre-bought Final Fantasy 14 when it first came out before they did the whole re-release. What a
oh
disappointment.
god. All right. Shadow, do you have anything that you want to add to this before we move on to some of the questions? I know we're running a little behind on that.
I always have something I want to add. I'm just trying to figure out if we will have another 20 minutes for me to do it. So, no, Zulfikar summed it up really well. Again, because I come from Web 2 before Web 3, right? So I'm always looking at things from the customer's point of view, and I'm thinking, okay, what does a customer want? So I've always been a consumer of my own products. I don't know how many founders are consumers of their own products. Whether I was in e-commerce or the service-based industry fixing my own stuff, or whether it was in Web 3, I'm always like, okay, how is somebody who's coming into this system going to look at this, and what's their experience and what's their outcomes going to be? And does it make sense to them? Not just me as a founder, but you as a participant. And so, when it comes to Fifth Kingdom, I'm thinking, man, the game right now is phenomenal. I haven't played it nearly as many times as Zulfikar, but quite. I mean, 70 to 80 runs is still quite a few, as opposed to 200, but still quite a few. And I'm thinking, you know what? Right now, it's in a dungeon. That dungeon, you're clearing out enemies to open up the mines for the DeFi component, so everybody can earn and participate. But what if we expanded this world? What if we opened it up? What if you could explore the kingdom? I used to play, if you guys remember RuneScape back, I think RuneScape is still
Oh
around. I think
god.
it's still active. I
RuneScape
don't know
still
how
runs.
active, but
No,
that's
it's
crazy.
actually one of the top MMORPGs still.
That's wild. I was playing it over 20 years ago. Did not know it was still active. But that's my early experience in sorry MMOs. And I'm thinking, right now this is the game as it stands because of the ecosystem. If we could open this thing up, and we will, if we could open this thing up, and you are with other players, you are exploring the kingdom, maybe you're exploring each other's households. Maybe you're assigning your companion to different tasks inside your household. Maybe you are going into different shops and there's Easter eggs in those shops. And this becomes a hangout and also a way to play to earn and a workable, sustainable DeFi system. And this is all following your NFT identity. So it becomes your NFT becomes valuable. It's not just a picture, it's actually a tracking mechanism. And we are, hanging out in the kingdom and we can explore. And the exploration is not just to kill time, it actually does something. And what if moving around with your household actually does so there's all these ways that we could take what is sort of like a micro system and make it or a macro system really blowing this thing up and really opening up this world and really allowing you to see how the story because we have a whole cinematics with this we have Hollywood script writer and composers and all this that are making the theme songs and we haven't even gotten into the lore you could actually see that play out as you're exploring the kingdom and I think that's where a lot of the traditional sort of NFT will come into play because storyline and branding is very big with NFTs. They just typically are not executing on it. So that's sort of a big grandiose vision, but it's not that grandiose if you think about it. It's actually fairly executable. And I always tell people, if you thought of it, we've probably already thought of it. We will, most likely be something that we want to implement, in the soon come future.
I like
Awesome.
how I was trying not to give away too much stuff, and he just casually drops player housing. Thanks, bro.
He had to try to follow
we,
you up, man. Like, jeez.
we will have player housing and guild lodging
Yeah.
If I
before, like
don't
earlier than
say
it took
that, I
wealth. Like
can't follow it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
it took
Yeah.
Blizzard 20 years to give us player housing. I will give it to you
Yeah,
in
but that's because they
20
didn't
months.
care.
Just
I
kidding.
mean, that's a different discussion entirely. Um, they didn't have to because they already had what everybody wanted. Anyway, gaming industry stresses. But on that, we do have a lot of questions. We're not going to be able to get to many of them because we're already running behind. I'm happy to spend an extra 10, 15 minutes here. If you guys have the time too, I understand that you guys are busy
We usually
building
go
a
over,
kingdom.
not under, so
Yeah.
we can say as long as you need.
Yeah, all right, sounds awesome. And for those of you who can still hang out afterwards, you're more than welcome to. I know that some of you guys it's late in some of their regions, so I understand if you guys have to get some sleep. But one of the questions that did stand out, and it was one of the early ones, was from Forrest, and she has you're calling them citizens as participants in the ecosystem, and it's definitely a different word from an investor or a customer or a client, right? The citizens implies some sort of say or some sort of influence over the ecosystem that you're participating in the government, in the region, in social standards. So how does that work for people participating in the Fifth Kingdom when it comes to being citizens?
That's a great question. Actually, so I saw that as a submitted question. It was great. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, what we're doing is a little bit of a different philosophy. I mean, we own the patent on it. Your NFT is your agreement between yourself, the holder, and the project as a whole. So every service we come out with, it's like when you have gaming consoles, and when you have a game and then a new console comes out, well, can I play my old game on the new console? And they call it reverse compatibility. Well, everything with Fifth Kingdom is forward compatible. We're never going to make you buy something new to get access to a new feature. So once you're in, a new feature comes out, it just unlocks a new ability for you, whether it's a titleage, bloodlines, vocations, etc. So the idea is that as you progress, like again, having mine deposits, that then becomes a locked value for your overall NFT. As you unlock new titles, new vocations, the ability to craft items in the game that people find value in, all of that follows with you. And then, so I think that explains how we view it as like a citizenship sort of aspect, and also it's part of the narrative, right? It'll make sense once you start to absorb the narrative through the comics, the novels, and of course the short form storytelling. If you watch our cinematic, that sort of gives you the beats for what we plan for like the first major community wide arc, right? So feel free to watch the trailer and sort of piece together what you think the first story trailer is going to be. But the last part you asked was, how does that make you part of the governance of the project? Well, as we know, well, because you and I have spoken, Terrace.
Yep.
I don't believe in DAOs. I don't really believe in DAOs. They become Kraken heavy. They become Leviathan heavy. Somebody with a lot of money, somebody has a big fiat wallet, can just bully people that maybe have put more effort into the project themselves, are bigger backers. So what we did was we created a senatorial system. We have the sovereign. The idea is that we will have guilds in our system. Each guild leader will be called an archon if you get accepted into the sovereign, right? And the sovereign is a collection of the guild leaders in our game. They will be able to vote on items inside of our game. So you as a citizen, you will have representation as long as you're a member of a guild, and you will be able to have your guild leader represent your interests in the sovereign to the actual project itself. Now, where I think this is important is because, like Shadow said, in traditional business, particularly when I was in high-end strategic sales as an account executive, you have to know every client by name, need, and ability. I can't do that if we have 50,000 players. It's just impossible, and it almost makes me feel like I'm being rude to you because you're giving me your crypto, your time, your effort, you're buying into what we're selling, and I want to know you. I want to fill your needs. I want to do this. I can't. So what we're doing is we're just doing a bottom-up sort of leadership strategy where we will let the community govern themselves. You will elect who your representatives are, and that guild leader will represent your interests. And this is how we'll make sure that we decentralized the voting structure inside of our system. And we can get more into that later if you want, but that's sort of the 40,000 foot philosophy behind what makes a citizen a citizen. It's a person who's in this world, you're absorbing it, you're leveling up. And then when you decide you want to move on, if you do, whoever inherits that character that you've built up, they pick up right where you left off. And I always say this, our goal and what we've built, there's always going to be a flavor of a week. There's always going to be new stuff that comes out, but everything should be meta if we've balanced correctly. Everything should be meta and everything should always matter. Like if I quit playing World of Warcraft in vanilla, if I try to log in now, or if I try to log in during Mist of Pandaria, you're lost in the sauce. You're basically like a brand new player. That won't happen to us. Of course, there'll be new features for you to build into and absorb because, we're never going to stop. But everything you did is still going to matter and it's still going to be important. If you're able to get into mines and things like that, you're still going to be able to use those. And those are still going to be the materials that are used 7 years from now. That's the goal.
There
Inshallah.
just might be a Fifth Kingdom classic instead, like no.
No private servers. Shut it down.
Yeah.
I'll take a. I think we have a lot of questions, but I'll take a Not a better, not a worse, just a different sort of approach to that, if you don't mind. So, again, so coming from Web 2 to Web 3, and when Web 3, what I've noticed is it's sort of like, hey, we're going to run a pre-sale, we'll take your money, and then maybe somewhere down the road we'll deliver and bring something, and it's going to be this big, great thing. And, after we've taken 70% and bought a boat, we're not going to tell you that, but after we bought a boat, then we'll come bring you something. And in Web 2, you usually have come to the table with value before asking for a single dollar. I believe that a better business philosophy is to come to the table with something. That's why we used our own money to build a Fifth Kingdom. We haven't taken in, any kind of like public sale to raise funds to then go build something. We've had the pre-funding initially, and I think that's super important because we're coming to you day one with something. We're not saying, hey, give us money, and then eventually somewhere down the road we'll bring you something. Then we get a fully fleshed out game and an entire blockchain ecosystem that's just going to continue to build and develop, as well as, not to mention the artwork and everything going on behind the scenes. Legal is not cheap, compliance and licensing is not cheap,
Yeah.
development is not cheap, marketing. So coming to the
Nothing's
table with
cheap
value day
nowadays.
one. Nothing's cheap nowadays, especially in Web3. And in this air quote bear market, right? So we're not trying to ride a hype train. But the reason I'm bringing that up with the citizen question is mainly because, so we're coming really before day one, day zero, with value, day one, right? And down the road, when we have future expansions, future systems, you as a citizen get the benefit of those. Just like before you come in day one, you have the benefit of our labor and us putting our money where our mouth is. It's not going to be a situation whereby, hey, there's a new expansion, there's a new system. I know you guys have your households built out, but you got to come and give us something more now. You're going to benefit in your citizenship. Your progressible NFT identity is going to benefit from all the future work. That's one of the great benefits, I think, of being a citizen, is that you are the long-term recipient of all the future ideas and efforts of us.
So it's not so much of an influence. It's more of a benefits situation when it
Correct.
comes to being a citizen. The where the influence comes in, and like you guys discussed, is the guild and the sovereigns. And that's something that I did see another question around, and I lost it. No, I know it's here somewhere. I'll find it again.
Well, yeah,
But
well, it's fine. Well, and like you said, part of the citizenship, yeah, it is influence. It's access. It's influence. It's also immersion. I mean, we are telling a really cool story here. I'm excited. I mean, for anyone that knows, I mean, I really feel like we could be the Web3 Games Workshop, right? Except for there will never be female custodes
yeah.
ever.
Oh, that's what it was. Somebody was asking about the ability to create or influence things being added to the game, and that's kind of where we were at with the guilds and influence. The influence is going to be more on the guild end than the straight citizen end, where the votes and stuff that matters. But when it comes to creating things or potentially providing sort of some sort of creative addition or influence into the game as it develops, how does that work?
Well, there's a few ways that we can answer that. The first thing is just easy. We actually have done some pre-sales for friends and family just to test out sort of like the smart contract. Hey man, come buy some NFTs, make sure everything works. Let us know what your experience was. And we took some of those preliminary NFTs and we threw them in the trailer. So if you go watch our first trailer, all the characters were derived from either the characters we have in the game, the monsters we have in the game, or the NFTs that were actually minted in our project. So when you're in our project, you're going to be added to the actual lore. You are a canon character. Now, of course, we'll have giveaways and stuff, and we'll have areas where people can write their own fan fiction, things like that. We will take elements of that. We will have writing prompts, and we will add you to the actual lore of the game. So for people that want to be a part of this world, it really is a participatory world. You are the project. You're not the product. You are the person who's exploring this world, having fun with it, inshallah, gaining value from it, but you are part of the world. So you will be an actual character. You'll have your own wiki articles if you want, things like that. The stuff you do in the game will matter. And by the game, I don't mean just the video games, like the whole gamified system. As you participate, you are a canon event. Things you do will matter, and it will affect other people.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I want to see how the lore and the story and the world develops around Taurus Resh. You know, like. But
Hey, man, you already turned down. Just so you guys know, this guy could have been a playable character. It was
I
we were gonna do
I
it.
want to be able to
The
secure
Legend of
my
Terra.
name. My name once it goes popular with anything, it's impossible to get. Like originally, I had Taurus, and I would keep
It's totally
Taurus,
fine.
and then like I guess it became a planet in Star Wars or something that was popular, and people started using Taurus all the time, and then I had to switch to Taurus Resh, and it yeah, I don't
Yeah,
need
I
that
told you.
disappearing too.
Well, when we first met, I asked you if you played Galaxies because I thought I knew who you were.
No, no. Um, we do have one good question here. And this is from Archmello. As the ecosystem becomes more complex, do you plan to publish detailed documentation covering gameplay mechanics, reward calculations, probabilities, and balancing decisions so players can make more informed strategic choices?
Yes, we are building out a wiki. It just was harder than I thought it would be because I've never done it before. But we will have, inshallah, a fully fleshed out wiki for gameplay, lore, user generated, project generated, etc. A one stop shop for what is going on. I'm a big fan of people putting themselves into stories. I would love for people to be so enraptured in the videos we put out, in the comic books we put out, that they write their own stories. I'm not George Martin. Please play in my garden all you want. Um, yes, that would be I mean, if you start writing fan fiction about your character in the Fifth Kingdom, Bubba, we might just
You're
we
gonna
might
see
become
it.
best friends.
You're gonna see it because gamers love creating their own stories behind who they are and what they are and how they want to be perceived and received or experienced in these game worlds.
And this is why when I showed you the mock-ups for your character, I gave you giant rippling muscles. Wasn't enough. Wasn't enough.
I gotta jiggle a little, otherwise it's just too unrealistic.
That Kung Fu Panda.
There we go. That works. And it's more apt.
My
Oh,
boy Poe.
but
But yeah, but that's a great question. And as it gets more complex, it shouldn't overwhelm you. If any of you log into a video game that's been out for a while, like a mobile game, sometimes when you log in for the first time,
yeah,
it overwhelms you. Some features will be gate kept, right? So until you've reached that level in the game or the system or that level of participation, it's not even available to you. So things like that. So it will be a graceful entry depending on where you come in. That's why I said no matter when you come into the project, whether it's now, God willing, or 5 years from now, you're sort of going to get the same entrance everyone else got. Except for, we'll learn over time. So maybe you have an even more graceful entrance after a while. But that's the goal.
yeah,
You got to start at Elwyn Forest, right?
yeah. Stormwind. Um, but I do have one more question from Crib. Play to earn models often foster, and I like this one because it goes really into like the psychology behind people who are gamers in Web3. And play to earn models typically do foster a transaction oriented mindset. Players end up feeling the game is a job. They have to hit their quotas for the day to get their embers and then have enough embers by this point to maximize their returns by claiming as many mines as they can. And like how do you prevent that from becoming a job or just like a regular um action that they take because they're focused on the return of investment in time or money?
There's only two ways I can answer that. The first one is just being candidly honest. It depends on you. For example, I had a great experience in World of Warcraft, just playing the game. It got a little more intense when I became an endgame raider with Insidia, right? When you're trying to push World First Sunwell, it was a little intense. But also, At the same time, you have a bunch of people in China that are just killing level 1 pigs all day long, right? Farming gold. So their experience will be a little different than mine. Mine was enjoyment, sort of like, just trying to be the best. And theirs is, trying to make money for IGN. So that's the candid answer. But the more fun answer is we're going to have such a feature-rich environment that whatever you enjoy the most, I presume you're going to spend the most time doing that. So when we introduce the dragons, if you're a person that loves the dragons, you're going to spend most of your time trying to raise and breed these critters. If you're a person who enjoys the gladiator game, you're going to be running your own ludus. Yeah, that's a little alpha for you. Things like that. Whatever system we come up with that allows you to put yourself and immerse yourself in this world, whatever you like the most, you're probably going to do that. And so my job is to try to give you as big of a menu as possible, as long as it all makes sense, and then you elect what you want to lean into. And so to make it feel like less of a job, I hope it's fun. That's the honest truth. There should be something for everybody. Different types of games, different types of systems, different strokes for different folks. And so choose
You're
what
gonna
you
have
like
your gamers and you're
and
gonna
then
have
do
your
that one the most.
degens.
Exactly. And I love them both. I love
Yep.
them both. Come do both. Come
They're,
do it all.
they're both part of Web three. You
I feel
can't
like
you
Rudy
can't have
Run.
one without the other lately. So yeah, I mean
Well, exactly. And then just the last part of that question, because I want to make sure everyone understands this. There is no liquidity pool. We are not just another game that issues a token. Philosophically, from monetary theory, that does not work because there's nothing grounding the value of that token in actual value. You play a game and then you get given a token. Where does the value of that token come from, particularly when you're selling it into a liquidity pair? The value only comes if you have an equal amount of buys coming on the other end. It never happens. We have decoupled that entire philosophy. Now you play, you own the deposit windows. People that deposit, and by the way, there's a reason why our rates are what they are. 5%, if you're a person that's in sort of the world that we're in and you operate in the spheres we operate in, that isn't the highest number we can ever reach. But if you ever talk to a trader, they will always show you their top day. I talk to these people all day long. We own a brokerage. They'll always show you their best day. They will never show you their worst day. They will never show you that they stop out 9 out of 10 times, right?
oh yeah.
They don't do that. So I hope that people see the 5% month as being ambitious, but we're very confident that we can handle these liabilities. And we hope that you see it as a sign of maturity and discipline, that that's the highest rate that we're offering with no ability to go above it. So we make large claims, but it's built off a base of confidence. We're not in this to fail. And like I said, the moment that you can't exchange your token for USDT on the market, we have a problem. The proof is in the pudding, and the pudding's in the eating. Come eat the pudding.
I did see one other question that looked really interesting, and that's something that a lot of people don't think about. But is there anything that you guys are planning for like fee mitigation when it comes to like transactions? I know you're with Solana, so everything's going to be on the Solana blockchain, which isn't typically super expensive for transaction costs. So I don't see why that would be an issue. But if and you guys only have what, five? You have the one High Lord and then the five companions that can be held per household. So it's not like people are going to be buying thousands of NFTs off of you guys, but they will be signing transactions, I imagine,
Please
for
do.
things like, huh?
Sorry, I said please do. If you want to buy thousands of NFTs, my DMs are open. I
um,
know a guy.
I know a guy, but so like, how is there any concern about fees getting excessive, multiple transactions, either through like the gameplay and collecting embers, or through having to make actions within your household?
No, and to answer your question, that's part of the reason why we came to Solana. So not to be a Solana plug, but this blockchain is phenomenal. We've built on other blockchains, and um, just so you guys know, this is part of the reason why I'm not doxxed. I've never committed a crime. I'm not afraid of super fans. It's just I talk a lot of shit about other projects that I've, pardon my French, but I talk a lot of stuff about people that I know in this space, and I don't want them to get upset with me. Um,
They've
our
heard worse
friends at
from me,
Western
so
Union. Yeah, right. So our friends at Western Union elected to use Solana, and we were kind of curious where they were going to go. Um, so because we combine TradFi and DeFi, and there's an expectation of services from us, from our real company, we wanted to go with somewhere where we knew that we were going to be able to meet our liabilities with less excuses. And so when it comes to the real world aspect of the blockchain management, Solana were the only ones that could meet our needs, candidly. And it's been a joy to work with them. Uh, I can tell you, wallahi aladim, we have been the number one token on another well-known blockchain, and we never got love from them. But people that were shilling shitcoins were getting promoted left and right, and I couldn't understand it.
Base.
Uh, so,
Um,
so yeah, so yeah, so love Solana. They're great. I brush my teeth to it. Love African Child. Solana's been amazing. They've been great partners. God bless them. Barakallah fiq.
yeah, the meme coin craze has kind of gotten old for me lately. I mean, like looking at it, we had the once Pump Fund came out, I think it was the death of the meme coin era because meme coins used to be something that you could 1000x on pretty often. I mean, like it was still hit and miss, but it's nothing like today where you've got like thousands of meme coins coming out every other day with people just pushing it and hoping virtuals, pump fun, cookie, all of these things that just have the ability for you to say, boop, there it goes.
Well,
And
and
oh
in addition, once they started streaming, I don't mean to offend anybody. Once they started streaming of them like torturing pets and just doing just wild,
yeah,
insane,
it's crazy.
just ridiculous. Yeah, it was a black eye on the industry, I think, actually, and it was black eye on the whole sector of meme coins. But to answer the question about fees, yeah, I don't think fees will be an issue. The gas fees are really good. We do have the ability for people to bulk purchase. You'll see that obviously once we get close to the mint. So we built in some abilities for people to hopefully save on gas fees. Really, the only gas fees is going to be revealing your NFT. So by the way, you guys will see this when you see the video walkthroughs I'm going to post today and tomorrow. But when you get your NFT, it's unrevealed. Then you reveal it. That's the RNG. So you can keep your unrevealed or you can reveal it. The revealing is really where the majority of the gas fees take place, but even that's not bad. I mean, we're talking salon here. So
Yeah, so it's pennies
Right, and
usually.
yeah, and if we could talk about that just real quick, the revealing element. So when you purchase your NFT, it's unrevealed. We sort of borrowed that from the booster card world. If you're a person that like plays Magic the Gathering or you trade in Pokemon cards, so when you get your NFT, it's unrevealed. So as we kind of mint out our NFTs, those unrevealed NFTs might be worth more, and it's just another speculative gameplay aspect to play with when you have an unrevealed NFT and you know there's X amount of mythics in the world. So you could have a foil Charizard and not know it.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I always liked the reveal aspects of NFTs because it had that kind of like pack pull feel to it, and like it gave you a little more than just saying, "Hey, here's your thing," you know. So yeah,
Exactly,
reveals always been
and again
fun.
we don't exempt ourselves from anything. So just so everyone knows, typical Web3 stuff we're not doing. I mean, some of it we are just because it's the nature of the beast. But there's no token set asides. Shadow and I are not gifted anything. Anything we buy in Fifth Kingdom, we have to pay with our own money. So there's no gifts, no hookups. So the reason why I'm number one in the charts and number one in your hearts, because I'm just good. Okay, I didn't cheat. There are no codes. But yeah, so I think that's important. There's no set asides. So there's no way for us to game the system. Anything we purchase, we have to buy, and that's a choice we made because we don't want to gatekeep ourselves from the user experience. If you're having an experience, we want to have it. And every time in the demo, when I have built my household, I have been stoked at the reveals because the artwork is great. There's no AI slop. Everything we reveal, sorry guys, but just so you know, everything we make is made by humans. Every word has come from the human mind. It's a prose that was pulled from the ether itself. Nothing is AI generated. We are building a pro-human future. Me and Elon, we talked. We agree. I'm with him. We're trying to build a pro-human future. So there you go. In a nutshell.
All right. Is there anything that you guys have coming up? Because I know we're hitting the 1.5 hour mark here. Welcome in, Velocity. Um, what do you guys have coming up that you want to share with the community? What should they keep their eyes open for?
The Mint. So we have been building our community out for the last 120 days or so. We've had a great group of people sort of helping us build sort of the vibe of what what Fifth Kingdom is going to be, right? Um, Going into the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a few things. Our product is going to be revealed publicly, and we're going to start doing a countdown to the actual mint out, which I can tell you here live will be the end of July. We'll announce the actual date. So you'll start seeing some more of our partnerships coming out this week. I take a lot of pride in what we've built and the knowledge that we have, but I mean, brother, you and I have worked together. You have given me so much advice. I mean, you've taken this product from good to better. We have other partners that have done the same thing. And so, as fortunate as I am to take some of the credit, you know, Shadow and I are only two of the four original founders of Fifth Kingdom. So, shout out to Mohamed Kadir and Mr. Mohammed Al Harbi. Thank you, gentlemen, both. They are the unsung heroes. They are the investors and money managers behind our project. So, yeah, I am sort of like a dwarf on the shoulders of a giant, and so I want to give the giant their due. So you'll just be seeing a lot more of the people that we're associating with and partnering with. You'll see the things that they've done in this space, and inshallah, you'll see how we incorporate the things we've learned from them to make this product as good as it can be. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like it, then it doesn't matter. And if it doesn't work, you're not going to like it.
Yeah, exactly. All
I'll,
right.
I'll
Well,
pack out that. Real quick, yeah. When I was in the Web 2 business world, my business mentor used to say that, hey, if you are selling the cure to cancer, it will make no difference if people don't know about it, right? So
yeah.
it's getting it out there and it's communicating it. And AMAs is one way of doing that. People are going to see a bit of a redesign on the website. You're going to see me putting out a lot more video content. I'm going to be walking through things and explain them as I walk through them because I think, again, different modalities. You could read something, you can listen to something, and you're going to be able to watch something. So you're going to see the game evolve. You're going to see a lot more documentation go out. Like I said, we have an FAQ that's going to be built out at the bottom of the website. We have a wiki that's going to be coming out. I'm going to be doing a whole video series. I'll even do a video series on the game, different strategies with the game, the NFTs, the household, the DeFi component. It's all going to make sense when you see it, and I promise I'll make them as short as possible. And then, of course, you're going to see the website getting redesigned. You're going to see more of the team coming on. You're going to see a lot more as we go into the mint out. So that way, when people are looking at it, they get it and it clicks because it is a unique system. Because it's not a typical, buy and farm or stake and bake or buy and flip kind of thing. It really is a progressible ecosystem that hasn't been built before. The communication is key. So you're going to see that communication really ramp up here in the next coming weeks as we lead to the mint out at the end of July.
Awesome. All right. um. So on that note,
Mic drop.
keep your eyes on Fifth Kingdom for their upcoming mint. Keep an eye on Fifth Kingdom for new modes of information about the ecosystem and what they're doing and how you can participate. You head to fifthkingdom.com, the number 5thkingdom.com, and you can check out their website. You can head to their X page, and the website is located on the X page, so you'll be able to find that there. And I can actually share that link easier so my bot doesn't yell at me because my bot is my bot is pretty strict when it comes to links. So all in the name of security. But yeah, check them out, fifthkingdom.com. You'll be able to get started. You'll be able to try out the game, see what you like about it, and of course you could join their Discord. If you join their Discord, you'll be able to give them feedback on your experience and what you liked or didn't like about it. And feedback is what helps us grow. It helps us develop and build things better. So yeah, you feel free to jump in. They're always there. They're super active. They're holding AMAs regularly. They're doing game nights regularly. It's just a chance for you to have fun and experience Fifth Kingdom and the team directly rather than through an AMA with us.
Although we love it.
Something up next.
Tears, no, I am sorry. I have one last saved round, and then I can end it. I told you what I'm most excited for. I didn't think about mentioning what y'all might be most excited for. So we're making an adjustment to the leaderboard. Right now, it's an all-time leaderboard, and I play the game the most because I don't have a real job. So I'm number one, right? It's not a skill gap. If you look at the amount of runs I have, it's just that's volumetrics, right? It's that UDP attempt. Well, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having daily and weekly leaderboards. So we're going to be hosting USDT competitions. So you notice, like we mentioned, we put our own money into this. We have the $52,000 giveaway that we're hosting on X right now. We have the $1,200 thread campaigns that you guys have probably seen, co-hosted by one of our KOL partners. So we have no issues with giving money away or giving USDT. So what we're going to be doing starting this week, inshallah, is we're going to be having daily and weekly tournaments with USDT giveaways for the weekly leaderboard winners. And we might start next week, actually. To be candid, just so everyone knows, I am not supposed to talk about timelines because I am a wide-eyed optimist, as Steve Madden says. But inshallah, next week we will start doing the USDT giveaways for the tournament winners. But we want to start hosting weekly tournaments where people can play the game and then get rewarded for their effort even before the play-to-earn component is live. So I think that's something that y'all might care about just a little bit more, and your friends might care about more. Is come play, win some money if you think you can, because I'm definitely allowed to compete. I'm kidding. It'll be the top non-team scores. Non-team scores.
The last thing I'll end with, and this is probably going to sound cliche, I'm sure, but I'll back it up. We don't operate as traditional founders, I think, at the Web3 space. Like I said, putting our own money, where our mouth is ahead of time before we come to the community. We are coming with value. Sort of like, hey, if you're coming over for dinner, you should sit down and eat. There should be food. You should be bringing the food when you're coming to eat. From the standpoint of bringing value before we come to a community, and also the fact that we're not being given freebies, we are participating in the system just like anybody else. But also from the standpoint of communication, a lot of founders I have found in the Web3 space are sort of like this top-down, management sort of position where they're at the top of the hierarchy and they're unreachable and don't care about feedback, and it's their way or the highway. I actually, in fact, had a gentleman DM me as we were here on the AMA who is thankful that we are open and communicative. So if you ever want to communicate, you have an idea, feedback, questions, opinions, come into Discord and feel free to reach out to us. We, like I always say, we might nibble, but we don't bite.
And I did just want to clarify that I am 100% on point here, because we did discuss it earlier, and I think Hamez might have missed it, but it's based 100% on the deposit system and the managed funds invested through the brokerage on the back end. Correct? There's
For the
no distrib-
buybacks.
Yeah,
Yes.
for the money coming back into the system and people getting earnings or rewards from that. So like if there would be no mine consumption to pay out the delvers if nobody deposits into the mine.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's where the value comes from. So
Yeah.
so as a player, you become a service provider. It's almost like we're letting you in to our money management company as an introducer. And also, just so everyone knows, it would be a lot easier for me if I just gave you the USDT. They won't let me. They won't let me.
Yeah.
I have to give you a token and buy the token back. It's the law.
Yeah, it's
Well, there's another
crazy.
component
Go
too, is
vote.
that resources are going to be valuable in the game, right? So it's not just about getting USDT in, getting USDT out, Jamez. It's also about getting those resources. Now, you might be saying, well, why would I want resources? Well, once you explore the system, you're going to understand those resources could actually be more valuable than the USDT, depending on how your strategy works out. This is why the strategy comes into play. So it's not a guaranteed like, hey, put USDT in and I'm going to always be able to get USDT out, in the sense that I'm never going to want the resources. You're going to want those resources just as much as the USDT. So there's some decision points to be made, right? So,
And again, it's a simple system, but it is robust. It's because we are a global company, and different jurisdictions and regions have different ways that they treat different classifications of digital assets. Our system is 100% halal across every region that we operate in. So that's the reason the system is how it is. If we could simplify it further, we would. But in order to be in compliance with digital asset laws through all regions that we operate in, this is how we did it.
Awesome. All right, I was just making sure I had that right. I didn't want to be giving the wrong
Yes.
information. I'm
Well,
pretty sure that I was on point there.
yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to
I'm sorry.
clarify.
Well, let me. I mean, I'm a Gemini, so let me put on my sleazy founder cap. You don't even have to worry about the USDT. Make a deposit. You'll get 5% of that deposit back in a utility token that will have more value to you than the air that you breathe in your lungs right now. Win, Lambo. We're gonna make it. But yeah, if you just want USDT, then we'll buy it back from you.
And by the way, feel free to jump in our Discord and ask those questions because we could get general counsel and things to also chime in as well, so that without putting all the pressure on Terrace inside of here to answer maybe questions he's not 100% sure on.
Yeah, no, definitely something I'm just from what I've gathered from our discussion, that's where I was at, and I just wanted to clarify it with you to make sure I wasn't saying anything incorrect in any way, shape, or form. So,
Correct. And I will be 1,000% clear. The
yeah.
tokens that you get come from the smart contract. Okay, the utility tokens come from the smart contract. If your expectation is to get USDT, yeah, that comes from the efforts of our money management company, Kingdom Trade International.
Awesome. All right.
So
And
again,
now,
so if we were to ask somebody where does the USDT come from to buy back the token, it's from captured real world value in a secondary market. It is not coming from user deposits. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands when you receive a token, it did not come from another member unless you bought it from that member on the marketplace. I mean, member to member transfers and buys, that's between you and them. We have a digital record of it. But every token, every value that you're perceived and receiving from the project, that is fresh. It's fresh turned over. It didn't come from another member. We don't recycle in that way.
all right. Awesome. And as we're wrapping up, I told you guys before, I do typically do a giveaway at the end of every one of our events. Right now it's 10 USDT for three of our attendees who attended for a certain period of time. Um, we've got 133 people who are eligible, minus me and Neos here. Um, let's see. Let me just make sure JK isn't in here too. Another one of our moderators. There we go. We're good.
The best.
Usually,
She's the best.
yeah, JK's amazing. Um,
Hi, ma'am.
she,
How are you?
yeah. So on that note, we're gonna do our spins here because I have too many people on the list um for the duck race. We usually enjoy the duck races, but you can only do up to 100 people for the duck races. So sadly enough, today we cannot do the duck races. But we will be spinning the wheel. So good luck, everybody. I hope that some of the amazing friends that we know and see all the time end up winning. If we get some new winners, we'll be able to celebrate them as well. Ready, steady, let's get this spinning. This one's not that great. I have it with the random music to see like if anything good comes through, and sometimes the music is fire, sometimes it is just really lacking. And we've got our first winner. It is it's Charles Fun. All right, so Charles is our first winner, and he is actually one of our regulars. Let me remove him. There we go. We're gonna shuffle this up a little bit, get the second one rolling. Let's go. It sounds like nothing. What is this sound? It's just a
Wow, what
fan.
happened?
Yeah, the fan. It's just got a fan going on in the background. There's no music.
Like the Price is Right.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's Arshmallow. Yes, it's Arshmallow. Congratulations, Arshmallow, on the win.
Hey.
I like Arshmallow. Arshmallow's always here hanging out. He comes and plays like Smash Carts with us and stuff when we do like Smash Carts nights and yeah, he's always down for a good time. And we're gonna shuffle this up and get our last winner for today. Hey, there we go. We got some music. Um, let's see. Our third and final winner for today is looks like Asian. No, it's Dreams. Congratulations, Dreams, on the win. And like I said, guys, just so you know, none of you have to open a ticket. Do not worry about that. The bot takes care of it. If you're on the list for potential winners, then you are on the list to have me just record your EVM wallets without having to worry. Congratulations, guys, on the win. Thank you again for attending the AMA, hanging out with us, listening to Shadow and Zulfi talk for an hour and a half and let us know more about Fifth Kingdom and what they're doing. And yeah, go check them out. Check out the website, check out the Discord, get to know the project, get involved, play the game, and see if it's something that you're interested in experiencing long term. Any final words, guys, before we end this?
But I appreciate you guys for your time. I always say, money's a currency, but time and attention and focus, that's the true currency because you could never get it back. So anytime somebody gives me their time, their attention, and their focus, I'm super appreciative because I know it's a one-off transaction. So thank you so much for giving us that. And if you would love to join us in the Discord, please come on over and we'd love to interact with you more. You have a great community here. Well done to you, Terrace, for managing such a great community. We just appreciate you guys, your wonderful questions, and your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be succinct. Thank you all for your time. I notice a lot that people say, thank you for answering questions. Let me just set the benchmark here. If a founder can't or won't answer a question, it's a scam.
Yeah.
So I'm not famous. I'm nobody important. I'm just a guy who has a really cool cartoon picture on the internet. So feel free to DM me if you have questions, comments, concerns, ideas. And with that, just thank you all for your time and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow for Creators Corner. Since we did not do the Creators Corner today, we're gonna host it tomorrow, same time, same place. And we're gonna probably do a once. Let me know when you guys get that leaderboard, weekly leaderboard active, and we'll host our own leaderboard event for CJF. See how the friends compete. Uh, but yeah, until next time, everybody. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day. Bye byes.